like that, man, in my home state, it's unbelievable.
Well, did you cut it? Oh, me? Oh.
You get the ball from one after the goal line stand. What was? I know what the mindset was, but did you guys discuss it? Let's just not let them get the ball back. And the fact that you stayed on the ground for all 11 plays, how important and special was it?
That was huge. We willed ourselves to win that game. That was. We put the ball on Q and Trey and the O-line's back and let them win the game for us, man. And I mean, I think we're averaging like 5 yards a carry on QB sneak right now. Like our O-line is unbelievable at that. So like, I mean, just getting the ball out, being able to, the biggest thing on that drive I think was that quarterback sneak on the first play. Getting the ball out to the 5 yard line from the 1 on a QB sneak is huge. And that we always talk about getting it out past the 5, and then another a couple big runs by Q and Trey, and man, that was huge. That was huge.
Awesome.
Well, you keep talking about you certainly would like to play better.
Yeah.
What was your mindset after the interception? It was so loud in here. It was the biggest crowd in Beaver Stadium history. You certainly didn't want to start the game that way. What was it like for you going on the sideline? It was a conversation. What were you thinking internally?
Man, I was just like, hey, I made this a little harder than it should have been on myself and us, but the mindset can't change, man. And you gotta just continue to, if you let that play affect the next play, that's when it becomes a problem. Because as much as I'd love to go back and change that play, and see it in its own and not throw that ball, I would. But how you respond is how you have to come back.
That's it. Okay. Will, thank you very much.
Hey, Will, just one quick. What did you tell the team as you were coming off the one? What did you tell them in the hub?
Let's go win this game. We did.
That was the G version of it.
All right, folks, thanks for being here. We're going to open up over here. Austin Ward.
Ryan, I asked last week to kick it off. Was this an angry version of Ohio State?
Yeah, I think so. Especially at the end. But we're going to go back and watch this and see a lot of things and break it down and, realize that the game probably could have been a different spot. But at the end of the day, the way that, we've been talking about it is go win the game. And we had to get a stop on defense. We went all the way to the 1 yard line. We got that stop. Tyleek goes out. We got to, send, K-Mac in the game and a few other guys to get that stop. And then, we get the ball back there, with over 4 minutes to go. And was it over 4 minutes to go? Yeah. And was that what it was? Yeah. And to finish that drive the way we did, I think is just going to springboard our physicality, our toughness as we head into the back half of the season. But these guys want it. And one of the things we talked about, this week was that, in life you're going to have these opportunities where you got to go will yourself to win, and you got to go take something. You got to go find a way to get that thing done, whether it's, for your family, in your career, or in the game of football. And our guys did that today. They did. And I'm really happy for this team. I'm happy for the seniors. And I think this is going to springboard us moving forward.
Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
I don't think it's overstating to say this team was at a crossroads coming into this game. How important was this win? I mean, the loss would be devastating. And how big is this win?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say, Bill, we were at a crossroads. This was a big game for us. We didn't really want to publicly say that, but we said that behind closed doors. And it's a big game for us for a lot of reasons. And to get a top 5 win like this on a road in a tough environment, moving Donnie over to left tackle, and we felt like going into this game it was going to be a difficult environment. We knew we had to win the rushing yards. Obviously, the turnover battle was going to be big, and then X plays. And so we had to really focus on those things. But at the end of the day, we had to find a way to get a stop and get that extra first down or score. And that's what it's going to come down to. And so I think this is going to build us moving forward. But for our guys to get this win is going to go a long way. And, guys came back on this team for a reason. It's to go, win the rivalry game, win the Big Ten championship, and win a national championship. And so along the way, I think there was this conversation about the expectations and all those types of things. And I said to the team, there's no great accomplishments that happen without going through adversity. It's just the truth. You don't just walk into a season and think you're going to go reach your goals. It doesn't work that way. That's just not the way life works. And so you get backed up against the wall, you got to respond, and that is life. So all of our goals are in front of us now, and we've been through a lot, and now we have to continue to build as we head into the back half of the season. But I can tell you, coming out of that locker room right there's a lot of guys in a room that are excited. Probably the most animated locker room I've been in a long time. And so now what are we going to do with it moving forward? But we are going to enjoy this tonight. Coaches, players, staff, everybody involved, because this was a moment that we have to, enjoy, because a lot of work that's been put in for this game.
Over to the right, Dan Hope, Lebanon Warriors.
Ryan, just this defense, to have its backs against the wall in that situation and get that goal line stand, just what kind of springboard do you think that can be for this defense the rest of the year?
Well, I mean, think about last week. We had it on the 1. And then we get the interception by Igbinosin, going in at the end of the half, and then you add this one into it. I mean, so it shows you that there's a grit, there's a toughness, there's a never give up, give me an inch, I'm going to defend it type mentality. And you got to give Jim and the entire staff credit on defense for their preparation going into this game. Penn State does an excellent job of changing formations, motionings, different looks. They got Warren back there at quarterback, and looks like he's about in. On that play, and he's just short, and we found a way to get the stand. So, but it comes down to the players. Coaches can put you in a situation, but the players got to go do it. They did it, and I'm proud of them.
Stephen Means, Cleveland.com.
Right. Obviously, it's been an interesting, I think, past 10 months for Carson. Obviously, having a job last year, losing a job this year. What did you guys see in him this week of practice that put him in a position to be ready? And what have you seen him from a development standpoint over the last
we went with experience. That was the decision we made. In this environment, we went with experience. Now, I don't know what he's going to grade out at, but you didn't notice him much. And that's a good sign for a guard when you don't notice him much. So we'll get on the film and see how he did. But I think his experience paid off, and he was a big part of this win today.
Rob Aller, Columbus Dispatch.
Ryan, you talked about an animated locker room, and maybe one of the most animated you've ever been when that game closed out. I know you don't like to listen to the noise, but for you personally, was there justification in terms of the way you've always talked about toughness? You talked about closing it out. Defense did it, offense did it.
Yeah, I think so.
Can you just expand on your emotions at that? Was it relief? What was it?
Yeah, there's a lot there to probably unpack that I'm not going to get into all of it, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot that goes with being the head coach at Ohio State, and you can say ignore everything that goes on, but your players read it, your coaches read it, your staff members read it, your families read it, and you got to stay strong in those moments. But that entire team, our families, they all believed. And so to go do that and accomplish that, what we did today in this game in a top 5 victory, it feels good right now. Now, we still got a lot of football ahead of us, but yeah, right now it feels good. And I'm proud of our team, and I'm proud of our coaching staff.
Folks, we're going to have players outside the back of our locker room here momentarily. Pat Murphy, 24/7 Sports.
Ryan, I don't know how much you've heard of Will, but he was pretty emotional coming off the field here.
Yeah.
Just what did he give you, bouncing back from 2 big mistakes to seal it at the end with a slide there, which felt kind of justified after the ordeal?
Yeah. I didn't think of it like that. I thought he was just going to continue to run. But what he gives us is a toughness at quarterback, and having him as a weapon running the ball. You saw the run that he had, and when the ball squirted out. I mean, that was a really executed play, really well executed play. Trevion had an unbelievable block on that play, so it was gut wrenching because it was so well executed, and guys were getting after people and finishing everybody to the ground, and the ball squirts out on the 1-yard line, and it's literally like taking a shot right to the stomach. But there's nothing you can do. You got to regroup and keep playing, and that's a sign of somebody who is resilient, who's been through it before, and he willed it to happen. He did. And he had a look in his eye all week that he was not going to lose this game. Whether it was because it was a top 5 team or it was from the state of Pennsylvania and a place that he grew up wanting to be a Nittany Lion. I think all that probably played into it. He just refused to lose, and that mentality, helped us win today.
It's going to be the final question for Coach Tim May, Letterman Row.
Yeah, Ryan, have you ever been in a game with so many key, crazy, game-turning plays? I mean, the ball, like you say, coming off Will Howard's knee there and goes out of bounds, touchback. But David Igbinosin gets a holding call or pass interference call. Next play,
Gets picked.
one of the most crazy interceptions you've ever seen. Just put that in your perspective.
So I went last night at the hotel. I went back through and I picked out probably 50 plays from the game 2 years ago here. If you remember that first half, that was almost as crazy. And I said to the guys at halftime, I don't know what's going to happen,
but there's going to be a score. And it's probably going to be around 14-10, 17-14. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. And it was like, you get to halftime and you're like, whoa. It was the same way, if you remember, 2 years ago. And then even in the second half, there was craziness. And then JT got a bunch of turnovers and the game flipped real quick. So we were sort of prepared for a crazy game that way. It just happens here against Penn State. And we're going to go back and look at ways that we felt like maybe we could have won by multiple scores and all that. But ultimately, you got to go win the game in the fourth quarter regardless of the score. So, it was another one of those crazy games.
Coach, thank you very much.
All right, guys. He's fine. I just grabbed him, hugged him. He said he was fine. I was